All right, so far this year, Border Patrol agents have caught 52,000 children trying to enter the U.S. illegally, and that figure could swell to more than 90,000 by year's end.
Now some members of Congress are pushing a bill that would help those children get attorneys as they plead their case in immigration court. Stacey Cameron has the latest.
It's called the Vulnerable Immigrant Voice Act, or VIVA for short. It's designed to give the very young and disabled immigrants who enter into the U.S. illegally a chance to get attorneys. But the bill, introduced by a group of Democrats yesterday, leaves out one important component: how much providing those lawyers to folks could cost you, the taxpayer. Appearing before a congressional panel, Homeland Secretary Jay Johnson tried explaining why scores of immigrant children crossing into the U.S. aren't being deported immediately.
But why aren't we putting them on a bus like we normally do and send them back down to Guatemala?
Because the law requires that I turn them over to HHS, sir.
That means each child now housed in federal shelters like this will eventually go to immigration court, in most cases without a lawyer.
And a lot of these juveniles that are coming in from these third world countries have absolutely no education whatsoever, have no money, and the immigration laws are extremely complex.
That's attorney Stephen Ramirez. He says a typical immigration case can take 2 to 6 months to resolve. According to this report, it costs the government upwards of $160 a day to house immigrants, which is why some Democrats in Congress are pushing passage of the VIVA Act, saying it will get immigrant kids out of shelters quicker and save taxpayers money in the long run.
That argument does hold true in some situations.
While the jury is still out on whether the VIVA bill will become law, Ramirez says there are immigration lawyers volunteering their services, trying to help an already overburdened system.
Whether it's not going to meet the needs sufficiently, it's hard to say.
Attorney Stephen Ramirez estimates that only about 10% of the children immigrants who go through the process are eventually given permission to stay in the United States. And he says the idea of providing funding for lawyers to those folks isn't a new idea. It actually started in the 90s, but the chance that that bill would pass now in the current political environment isn't very high. I'm Stacey Cameron, reporting in San Antonio.